Today, I'm going to be covering off the Awakening DLC for Black Ops 3 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and whether I think it's worth your money. I'm going to be giving you a run-through of all the stages that are included with the DLC, including Rise, which is a construction site set in Switzerland, Splash, which is a very colourful abandoned water park, Skyjack, which you may or may not recognise elements from the Hijack map out of Black Ops 2, and Gauntlet, which is a massive military facility with 3 different environments, and it's pretty crazy stuff. I'm also going to give you a quick look at the I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name out of the zombies segment of the DLC, which is basically set in a medieval castle being hammered at by a whole lot of zombies that want they want parts of you. So stay locked, and I hope it helps. What is currently happening YouTube? Facepalm here, your friend in Oz and NZ, bringing you reviews, tutorials, and game clips, minus the shit. You can follow me on Twitter at Facepalm with a 1, not an L. As for here on YouTube, if you like what you find, then like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to bring your game face. Let's get it done. So the first part of the DLC that I'm going to look at is Rise, which is an under construction Coalescence research campus hidden in the snowy Zurich mountains. So if we drop straight into the stage, we can see that this is a 3-lane map. You've got a lane on the left, there on the right, and in the center where everything does get quite hectic in this stage. This is actually one of my favorite stages in the new DLC, just because of all the different lines of sight you can get. So if we have a look at the left side of the map, you can get to the left side by going up those stairs or coming around the corner. You can take that doorway which cuts through the middle, or you get quite a lot of firefights down along this line. If we have a look back up the top there, you can see where those stairs lead up to, and you'll get people camping up here or hanging out. Again, a great place for firefights. You can obviously jump along all these buildings, or you can get down on the ground and get amongst the thick of it. You can hide around all the corners. There's also a section up the top here which fires back along the other end of the map and comes along the middle. So if we have a look now at the middle, you can get through the middle of the map one of 2 ways. You can take the door up the stairs or come around this way to the left. Now this is by far one of the most hectic parts of the map, as you can get firefights coming down this lane from people coming off the spawn at the other end of the map, through that doorway, people flanking you from around here, coming out the other side. That's where the stairs led up to before. You can get people sitting up here and picking off people through that window, or again through that doorway, down through there. Usually I find someone hanging out here when I jump out that window if I've come from that side of the map. You can also come around this side. You can get up in this window. People will hang out here and fire out back through the center of the map. You've got this laneway here, which is quite sneaky. Definitely a very tense point there. You've got this tunnel here. People camp up there. I don't really fuck with that shit because camping's for fuckwits. But you can get some easy kills if they do that. There's also this area tucked in behind, which is a great place where you can pop people off, and you can use it to call in your call streaks or care packages or whatever. This section of water goes around to the right hand side and comes around there. You can wall run along here, and also get some sneaky firefights going in through that window or through the doorway out here. You'll notice that the water actually does go right through and under this stage. This alleyway comes back through into the center of the map. I'll usually find people coming out here and flanking you out that doorway. It also comes back through here and leads back to the back of the map through that doorway, through that line of sight there. You get people coming out either way if you're in the center of the map, or if you've got people in the center of the map, especially here where there's a spot in domination, you can track them there, and that's basically the Rise DLC. So the next stage I want to look at in the DLC is Splash, which is a recently abandoned water park resort located in the southeast United States. Beware the Kraken. So if we charge straight on in the entranceway without buying a ticket, you're going to see how colourful this place is. Very, very cool. You've got the locker rooms off to the left. Yeah, colourful stuff. And if we have a look at the map, you'll see that this is another 3-lane map with a right left hand side and the centre lane, which also has various access points via water. So if we come along here and have a look at the right hand side of the map, you can see it's like ankle deep water. This guy's waiting at the bar much like you would in Melbourne. You can come up this water slide here and do one of my favorite things to do in this stage, and slide down the water slide. Conveniently, your slide is exactly the same length as that slide. Up here in the top, you can come through this tube, and it will lead you to the center of the map. We'll come back to that, but as for now, if we come back down here, you can see how easy it would be if people were running down this lane and you were up the top there, and you can just catch them in the back of the head. So beware of that spot up there. So if we keep going down the right hand side of the map, there's some basically straightforward lane. If you catch people here, you're going to be in a gunfight and there's not much cover. This leads to the back of the map here. There's another spawning spot out here. and you've got a couple of different ways to access the center of the map. You can go through there, or you can come up the stairs here. So if we have a look up here, this goes through a nice colorful pink tube, kind of looks like, you know, a euphemism, but anyway, you've got lanes to all these doors, lines of sight. People will hang out up here, and it's a good place for good firefights. If we keep going around the right hand side of the map, you've got lots of different tight little lines of sight through this one lane, which is actually quite cool. There's two different ways to access this area, the left and right. So if we go have a look at up the stairs here, you can see that off to the left, this actually leads to another separate area, a very cool little loot piratey sort of area. From here, you've got access and lines of sight to that doorway, that tube, that tube, that tube, and that ping one that we were in up there before, as well as people come around the back from the spawn and also from the water site. So there's a lot of access points to that center point of the map, which equals a very, very hectic atmosphere at times. Very cool, very tense. If we come around, have a look at the beach, it's quite empty. Yeah, it's almost like it's winter. If we have a look around the back here, you can't go up there, but we can go around here. This takes us around to a water access point to the center of the map. So if we have a swim through here, I've actually had some quite good firefights under this water part. And if we pop back up here, you can see the window that we were in before with the loot area. So if we go back down, we'll swim back through here, ignore all the treasure. We come back up the top on this nice sunny day. I love the water effects on the screen, it's awesome. You've got some more tight little spots for firefights down here, and it eventually leads us to the back of the map. You can access it through that side, or obviously through the start, which is where we started. So if we now have a quick look at the center of the map, you can go the other way or you can go this way. This leads you up the top to where that blue tube was before, and you've got, again, lots of lines of sight from where people will be. That center lane is just so tense, man. So if we come down here, yeah, that's basically the splash map, except for this bit here. Obviously it leads us to the start, and you get some nice lines of sight again to the center point of the map. Obviously, honestly, I can't stress how hectic this part of the map is. And also this little tube runs around to the side and leads us back out to the back spawn part of the map. We've also got some stairs up here. We can go up here, and that leads us back to the point where that water slide was at the start with the pirate ship up the top there. So if we do one more slide down the bottom, because that shit's fun, that is the splash map. So now we're going to move on to the Skyjack DLC, which is a fan favorite, hijacked, reimagined as blah 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 blah. It's basically hijacked, but instead of being on a ship in Black Ops 2, you're in a ship in the sky. So if we drop in, everything's going to look pretty familiar. You got these areas out the back. The layout's kind of the same. You know, you got this lane on the right leading up to their doorway, which is everyone's favorite. And if we have a look at the map, it's a pretty standard affair, but you do have a lane in the middle underneath the bottom of the ship, which we'll have a look at. So technically 3 lanes. So if you've ever played Hijacked on Black Ops 2, this is definitely one of the good sides. This side leads up to the usual spots there with the B domination spot, and through this laneway out the back, you've got various lines of sight, and then leading up the top there, those sides, and yeah, it's the usual stuff. It's just a bit flasher, and it's a lot bigger, and you know, it kind of suits because of the speed which you can run and slide and also boost. The size of this map actually works out quite good. You've got the usual spawn spots out the back here, and if we go and take a look at the center of the map, we can see that you can come out the sides here, or if we go right through, there's a nice line of sight right down to the other side where people come up from the spawns. You usually get some good shots in here, whether it's sniping, assault rifle, it doesn't matter. It's just generally a good lane to be in. You've got the top spot here. You can get the top spot up there or down to the right again from that spawn, and you've also got this section if we go through out to the left. So this drops us back down here, and we can then continue on through the center of the map. So you've got these sides here, which is the huge, you know, you come up the top, come down the sides. There's just so many different straight lines on the site. You can go up the top of the stairs here and pick people off out that window. You can come back down the side, and it leads you back to the spawn spots, which is the usual affair. So you can also go down underneath this ship. So you drop down here, there's a ladder leading back up. You go through, and man, I haven't spent a lot of time in this area. every time I come down here, it's basically empty and I don't really have any good firefights. But, you know, you can see it's pretty cool stuff. There's a massive tear in the side of the ship, and there's a war going on down there, man. There's some guy has left some experiments there. This will lead you back up to the center sort of back spawn of the map. So if we now have a look at the right-hand side, this is what it used to be in Hijack, but with a difference. You've got that tear in the side of the ship there, all right? So that leads to the bit that we were just up in before. It's still basically the same lane as Hijack, but you can wall run over here. You can get people coming off the spawns, coming through those doorways, through that spawn there. Do whatever, do your thing, like however you want to play. It's all good. You can also go up the top here. This leads back into that center top window that we saw before, and you can pick people off in the usual spot. So finally with this map, you've got, if we jump down here, we go have a look at the center. Like, this is all quite familiar. There's some good lines of sight here. Very tense spot to be if you've got the testicular fortitude to hang around here and have it out with basically everyone else. That's the place. So yeah, that's Skyjacked. And last of the DLC multiplayer maps is Gauntlet. So this is a classified training facility uniquely designed to push the specialists beyond their limits, and it really does do that. You'll see the 3 sections in that screenshot there. One with sort of jungle, one had snow, and one was like a street atmosphere. So if we have a look at the map, it looks pretty hectic. You've got a left lane, which is where the street stuff was, a right lane where the forest sort of style was, and in the center there is like your snow section. It looks very crazy and confusing, and initially it is. I didn't actually really like this map to start off with. I thought it was just a little bit too much, but it's sort of a similar thing once you get used to all these maps. They are really cool. Like, this is probably my least favorite out of all of them, but I still actually quite like it. It's really cool. You know, you got the street side down here. That doorway leads to the center of the map, that futuristic taxi, which is a bit cheap. You know, it's kind of, I don't know, almost a bit trying to be Total Recall, but in this day and age. Anyway, this section here is pretty straightforward. It all leads back up to the back spawn of the map. You come around this corner. I very rarely catch people around here. Generally, when they spawn here, they head straight down the middle of the map, and they'll either try and catch you in here in the center in the snowy bit, or they'll come up this lane here. Now, you can see the forest side there. This doorway here leads into the center. This massive wall up here, you can wall run on that. I wouldn't recommend it. Most people get picked off, or I pick them off as soon as I see them up on that wall. It's like basically, because the background's white and they're generally not, it's very easy to make target practice of them. This doorway here leads back to the other side of the map, and you got the section below the bridge. You can wall run across here, come back up the top there, which I'll show you in a bit, the forest bit back through there, or you can come back up the top here and continue on out. If that was very confusing, that was where I was before, the wall run bit, and it's basically a straight lane through the middle here, but with that stuff underneath it. So that goes back out to the center of the map, and then this bit leads to the spawn spot out to the right here. So I'm going to show you now one of my favorite parts actually of this map, which it wasn't initially when I first seen it. I was like, oh man, that looks shit, but it's actually really cool and really tense, and that aim was way off. Don't tell anybody about that one. So this forest part actually turns out to be really cool. I've had some really hectic battles in here. There's just so many lines of sight, like fine lines of sight through all these trees and bits and pieces, lots of cover. You can wall run along this wall, which I kind of wouldn't recommend unless you got some green camo going on, or you really need to get somewhere in a hurry. That leads back up to the center. You got, you know, down that way, you can sort of creep up down here. You can even use these trees for cover, you know, like it really throws people off. They don't look like much, but they really can cover your ass. So you can sort of bounce right to left, pick them off through there. This door that I showed you before, that goes back through the center and then goes up those stairs. If we carry on through here, this leads back to the back of the map. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory. Don't need to have a look at that. We've been there. Comes through. That's the access point. And then this goes up the stairway. And a lot of people will camp here. And it's just another good sort of hanging out spot and sussing out the maps. And if you're on the mic, let all your mates know, you know. So if we exit back out of that, that is the Gauntlet map. Now, I'll quickly show you the Zombies X DLC segment of this game. So if we have a look here, you'll see that as far as the gobblegums go, I think there's a few more options for them, maybe 4 more different ones available. And if you jump into the match, you basically, it's the same as the other zombies, but it's just a different stage. Similar theme, same, but different. Very, very cool stuff. You're going to see a lot of blood, a lot of guts. You're going to see some cool cartoon intros. You're going to see some people cut in half, and basically these 4 legends here. That's pretty much self-explanatory. The zombie style is cool. I haven't played a lot of it, but I did use the initial zombies map to get my red hex camo for my locust. You can actually click on the screen now and it will take you to a video tutorial on how to get that camo. But moving on from that and wrapping this up, do I think this is all worth it? Should you spend your money on the Awakening DLC for Black Ops 3? In my opinion, yeah, you should, man. Like, here in Australia, it's $20. Like, that's the price of a cheap meal and a couple of coffees, which is probably, once the buzz wears off, probably going to give you 2 hours of entertainment. This is going to give you a lot more than 2 hours entertainment. For $20, I think it's worth it. You're going to be able to jump on all these maps with your mates. Initially, it can be quite daunting, like having to relearn some new stages, but after a few matches of each, you get your head into it and you kind of just appreciate the maps for what they are, which is really well laid out laneway firefight style maps. Very good range here, from tight-knit hectic spots to just cool scenery and long distance shootouts. For $20 Australian, 100% I reckon you should download it, jump in the rounds with your mates, get involved, get amongst it and have fun. That's it from me, so I'll leave it at that. But yeah, in my opinion, get it. Thanks for watching today's video. Just remember, you can follow me on Twitter at facepalm with a 1, not an L. As for here on YouTube, if you like what you find, then like, comment and subscribe. But don't forget to bring your game face. Facepalm out.